It's time to start after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. The leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? Look, he's guilty. It's not a question. You know, I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason.
Well, there he is, Donald Trump, always trying to get the spotlight off of himself and put it on someone else. Well, that's what he's doing here with Barack Obama. If you didn't know previously, Obama has a middle name, and I just learned that there. I can't believe they hadn't said that before. He's accusing the former president of treason, a crime which, by the way, if convicted of it, is so terrible that it could be punishable by death. Cenk, we're going to spend some time talking about this. What are your first thoughts?
Yeah. First of all, this is the mother of all squirrels. So Trump's been throwing a bag of squirrels at the Epstein files. And part of the reason why Tulsi Gabbard did that ridiculous press conference today and with these dramatic announcements is because the Wall Street Journal probably called Trump for a quote on the story they were about to run today about how he's in the Epstein files. He's like, Tulsi, ASAP, I need you out there. So give me as big and large a diversion as you could possibly have. All right, how about if we say we might kill the former president? And that's kind of what they're saying. Treason is punishable by death. Okay, we're gonna show you in this story how absolutely absurd that is. Absurd. Every part of this is absurd. But it's so absurd that I was on a show with right-wingers earlier today on X. All of them were like, well, I mean, we hate Obama and he probably did something, but obviously this is a squirrel. And I was like, whoa, look at that, okay? But a lot of right-wingers do believe this, and if you're among them, wait till you hear the evidence to get the real story.
All right, so here's the deal, folks. Trump is accusing Obama of treason now because a report that came out from Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, about the Obama administration and their handling of the alleged Russian interference in the 2016 election. We've already debunked the bombshell, and I put that in quotes, that Ms. Gabbard released, but we'll do it again since she's doing it again, and we've heard about it today. Here's a little bit more of your president talking about the former president.
The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up all the way going up to 2020 in the election. They tried to rig the election and they got caught. And there should be very severe consequences for that. Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking about.
Very criminal. It's not just criminal, it's very criminal. If you're wondering what the hell the president's talking about, let's take a little look at this. On Friday afternoon, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence published a press release asserting that its director, Tulsi Gabbard, revealed overwhelming evidence that President Obama and his national security officials manufactured and politicized intelligence to launch a years-long coup against President Trump. And Gabbard declassified those emails, those memos, those materials on Obama officials. And here it's all about the election interference in that 2016 election. Gabbard's report suggested that in the winter of 2016, intelligence officials under pressure from the White House changed their assessment from one that Russia had failed to mount a significant effort to hack election infrastructure to one that the Kremlin was trying to boost Mr. Trump and denigrate Hillary Clinton. But Gabbard is conflating two very different things. Intelligence officials had concluded Russia had not engaged in any major effort to hack election systems and change votes, but they also believed that Russia had tried to influence the election in various ways by releasing hacked documents to harm Mrs. Clinton and sow dissent. The Obama administration, just to be clear, never claimed that the Russians manipulated votes. And the assertion that Russia didn't try to influence the 2016 election is contradicted by the Senate Intelligence Committee report that was signed by all members of that committee, all Republican members of the committee, including the current Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, when he was a senator representing Florida. Nonetheless, today, Gabbard released some more unremarkable documents that she claimed proved the Obama administration was promoting the lie that Vladimir Putin and the Russian government helped President Trump win the 2016 election. So she confirmed during a press conference today that the Trump administration is in fact considering prosecuting the former president, referred all those documents to the Department of Justice. She also agreed with Trump's treason characterization. Here's your Director of National Intelligence.
The president yesterday, you've inferred that the former president helped lead a coup. Based on what you now see, do you believe President Obama is guilty of treason?
I'm leaving the criminal charges to the Department of Justice. I am not an attorney, but as I've said previously, when you look at the intent behind creating a fake manufactured intelligence document that directly contradicts multiple assessments that were created by the intelligence community, the expressed intent and what followed afterward can only be described as a years-long coup and a treasonous conspiracy against the American people, our republic, and an attempt to undermine President Trump's administration.
Yes, is Ed O'Keefe asking that question, and she's talking about a years-long coup. These are massive allegations against a former president, and unsurprisingly, MAGA and MAGA World is fully on board with this campaign of calling out the former president. Steve Bannon, you'll be shocked to know, told this to Axios: "The accused must be indicted, must be prosecuted, must be incarcerated when found guilty. The failure to leave it all on the field after DNIs and the president's charges would be devastating to the MAGA movement and the nation." Interesting always to hear them talk about someone who has been accused and found guilty. Well, then they have to be incarcerated. Always interesting when we're talking about the president who's in office now. And finally, if there was any question whatsoever whether this or whole Obama story was manufactured as a distraction, Trump basically admitted so yesterday. Here's the president.
Remember this, Obama cheated on the election. And we have it cold, hard, blue, and it's getting even more so because the stuff that's coming in is not even believable. So, and you should mention that every time they give you a question that's not appropriate, just say, oh, by the way, Obama cheated on the election. You'll watch the camera turn off instantly.
Cold, hard, blue. I have no idea.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. All right, that's one of the many problems here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna break down why this is so absurd. I wanna point out all the hypocrisies here, but we're asking you guys in a poll question on the live chat, will Obama actually be prosecuted at any point? And I think that's an interesting question, and one I wanna come back to with Michael at the end. Obviously, the great majority of you are saying no. I don't know what prosecuted actually means. Does that mean they try to prosecute him or they actually do prosecute him? I mean, certainly if you mean convict, we don't mean conviction. Conviction, there's no chance, it's 0%, right? So, but we'll come back to that question. All right, so first on the hilarious hypocrisies. So Steve Bannon, I mean, if someone is, did this, conviction, they ought to serve prison time. He was pardoned by Donald Trump for his crimes at the end of Trump's first term.
Right.
So why didn't you go to trial and prove your innocence? Oh, right, your co-conspirators were all found guilty and went to prison. Okay, next, Tulsi Gabbard. Right before the show started, somebody found a clip of Tulsi Gabbard a couple of years ago, not a couple of years ago, I think it was 2016 if I remember right, on Joe Rogan's show, because there's always a Rogan clip for that. And she's like, the Russians interfering is unacceptable. Okay, back when she was pretending to be a Democrat.
when you're talking about like these Russian troll farms that you mentioned, what is missing from all of the news coverage around this and all of the outrage about how this foreign country is trying to influence our elections, which is wrong and which the American people need to be aware of where this information is coming from, is the fact that and you're saying, why does somebody do that? Well, because this country does want to influence who we're electing. I think it is very hypocritical for us to be discussing this issue as a country without actually being honest about how this goes both ways.
And there's many people that are blowing this off and they don't think that it's important, and the president's claiming it's a witch hunt. But it's very odd that we're having this conversation in the first place. It's never existed before in any single presidential election. There's never been talk of us or any politician that's running for president being influenced by a foreign superpower before today. It's just amazing that it took until 2016 before this became a real issue.
That's true.
And in many other interactions on social media, when you go, hey, Marco Rubio was the acting chairman who said definitively that Russia did interfere in the 2016 election, and every Republican on the panel agreed, it was unanimous, and they were super clear, right? They're like, well, we got no love for Marco Rubio, but yeah, okay, that's an interesting point. Because then otherwise, if this is true, and it's part of a years-long coup attempt, and it was all coordinated, and it's all treason, then I guess you got to try the Secretary of State for treason, your own Secretary of State. It doesn't make any sense. It's so stupid. All right, but I will give Trump credit for accidentally saying a number of things that were true, including the witch hunt you should be talking about. I don't think you're supposed to call your own investigation a witch hunt. Okay, so that was a nice little Freudian slip. And he's like, now you'll see a lot of things not believable. Yeah, that's true. The things you guys are putting out are not believable. But you got to say it. Now remember, if they talk about me and me being in the Epstein files, what do? We all switch over to Obama committed treason. Doesn't have to be true. It's just to try to divert the conversation. So now to the substance. So number one, everyone agrees, including the Trump administration, that Russia did interfere in the 2016 elections, okay? So you're gonna see where the difference is in a second, and the difference is hilarious and microscopic, okay? Between the two versions. Number two, there was no collusion between Trump and Russia. Everybody agrees, including the Democrats, okay? Number three, the Russians did not hack into any votes, did not rig the election, physically, literally with the votes in any way. Everyone agrees, Republicans and Democrats, okay? Now, a lot of Republicans are going around saying, oh yeah, the Democrats said that the Russians hacked it. No, they didn't. Maybe some Democratic voters did because they didn't understand the story or they got carried away, but no Democratic politician said that they actually hacked into the voting machines. Never, okay? So good news. On the major issues, Democrats and Republicans agree. So where's the disagreement? Where's the treason in all this, right? So the report, both the Mueller report and the Intelligence Committee report led by Republicans, said that the Russians were mainly trying to seem like they were on Trump's side so that when Trump lost, because they assumed that Hillary Clinton would win, it would delegitimize our democracy, that they would put out further propaganda. See, Trump actually won, but they put Hillary in. You see how it's all rigged, etc. And they were trying to goad people that way. So that is what happened, right? Now, what Tulsi Gabbard and these bozos are saying is, no, but the Obama team said that we should make it seem like the Russians were trying to help Trump win and make sure Hillary Clinton lost, and that's where the treason is. Wait, what? Okay, so the official story is that the Russians wanted to appear to be helping Trump and hurting Hillary Clinton. And they're saying because Obama and the Democrats said that the Russians were not trying to help Trump, they were just trying to appear to help Trump, that's the big distinction. And so since they were saying, the Democrats and Obama and Marco Rubio and Senator Burr and every other Republican senator was saying this, they were saying, oh no, They were appear to help Trump, but not actually help Trump. But everybody, even the Democrats, agree, and no one said, and certainly after the reports came out, that there was collusion. So where's the goddamn distinction? This is like you have to squint so hard, and you need a microscope to figure out that distinction, and that's what the treason's based on. Now come on, it's just over the top absurd.
Well, there's no way any Justice Department could look at this and not think that, Jake.
So, Michael, so that goes to that question,
Yeah.
the question that we're asking the poll, right?
Yeah.
By the way, shows live 6 to 8 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday. Come join us, be part of the show, okay?
But before you get into that, I want to just say what I was referring to comically there was just that Pam Bondi is the Attorney General, handpicked, of course, as is any Attorney General by any president. But this one came with a little more politics behind it. But there's also something to the circumstance with Pam Bondi, because Pam Bondi is also trying to distract and deflect right now because of the way that her department handled the Epstein files. So not only does it help the president by not talking about Epstein, it could potentially be an incentive for the Attorney General to not talk about her involvement in pushing aside the Epstein files.
Yeah, so my question isn't, will they convict Obama? Ridiculous. My question is, will they try to indict him, and what will happen during the indictment? Because it's one thing to just do a press conference and throw out a lot of BS, and that's Trump 101, right? It's another thing to say, okay, we're gonna actually try him. We're gonna present evidence to a grand jury to indict the former president on treason, okay? And the old saying in legal circles is that you could indict a ham sandwich. Why? Because there's no defense, and you could just selectively put out any evidence you want to get an indictment from a grand jury. So it's actually super simple. But I don't think they can get an indictment on this. I mean, they'd have to stack it with a jury from, deep red Alabama, and they still might not get it, because the first three things you have to explain is we all agree on almost every part of this case, and then I need you to think that the most, like a difference that is so small that it's hard to explain is the difference between we all agree everything is good and no crimes and treason. Right? So do you think they're gonna try to actually indict him?
I mean, I think what they're probably gonna do, if they take this to where they wanna take this, or if they those first machinations of doing it are with a special prosecutor or a special counsel to come in and look this over. What it also does in politics, which is different than just the law, is it buys time. If this becomes a wildly unpopular and divisive thing for the administration and for the Republicans, then you can sort of let it go away too. I personally don't think it's going to lead anywhere, but I could see the Attorney General, who is a Trump loyalist, and from the very get-go, from 2015, 2016, I could see her saying, yeah, we're going to pursue this. There's enough there to do that. Then some of the other 3D chess with this is that if this president, and I believe he does, thinks that he's able to run for president again and wants to do that, he's not able to. I don't want to put the fear of God in anyone, but he thinks he is. Who's his biggest opponent in that case? Another person who all of a sudden could run for president again, that would be Barack Obama. So there's a little bit of the 3D chess here of discrediting your biggest threat in your fantasy of being president for a third time. So I ordinarily would laugh at someone saying what I'm saying right now, but this administration and this guy have proven that you can't laugh because quite anything is possible.
Yeah, we live in historic times and crazy times. So I don't know if all sides of the political aisle are going to snap out of it at some point. Probably not. But if you think that this is actual treason, brother, I mean, just read the story. Don't read it from a right-wing source, okay? You read it from a right-wing source too if you want, okay? But also read it from other sources that give you the reality and not trumped up total and utter nonsense. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.